Hello and welcome back to the Knitting Paige channel. If you're new here, my name's Paige and today I have a knit into the week with you. So today I will be working on my Florence, this is not my Florence jacket, this is my mohair jacket by Florence Miller, who is also handmade by Florence, both here on YouTube and on Instagram, and this is just a nice like drop shoulder cardigan, but it's actually button free, which I love. I don't know, sometimes I find picking buttons to be the hardest part of knitting a cardigan, and it takes me forever to put buttons on, but this one just has I-cord ties instead of buttons. But today I will be knitting on this, and I'm gonna reflect on a summer of knitting because I have officially finished all of my summer knits, at least the summer knits that are in 100% plant fiber yarns. I may work on a few camisoles throughout the fall and winter, just as a nice small end of the round piece that fits nicely into a bag, but for the most part, summer knitting is done for me and I am full-fledged into fall. So this summer, if you've watched my summer planning video, you'll know that I plan to knit 13 different garments. And 13 was a lot, and if you're new here, I didn't accomplish all 13 garments. I think I finished 3 of the garments on my list, and I started 7. So the 3 that I finished were the 3 test knits that I had on my knitting summer plans, and I'm glad I finished those 3 because they were test knits and I had deadlines. And the 3 that I finished were the rabbit top, which was it's this gorgeous, I currently have it as a strapless top, but I would still like to add straps at some point, top that is by Knitterina, who is Katarina, and it has multiple ways to tie it. I've kind of experimented with different ways that you can tie this top, but that is one top that I finished. It's a top that I love. I've worn it a decent amount this summer. I knit it in Holstgarn Coast, which I purchased from I purchased a comb to knit it from, so it was very inexpensive, probably around $6 to knit. It was a relatively mindless knit, which I also enjoyed. And yeah, overall, really love that top. Glad that I finished it. And glad that I put it on my summer knit list and that I signed up for it. The other top, or I guess one of the other tops that I finished that was on my knit list was the Celine top, which was a test knit for Emma's.knits, who is a designer, and it is this gorgeous textured tank top with multiple different options that you can do. And when I say multiple, there's 2 different strap options, and you can knit the top with or without waist shaping. And so I did the wide strap so that it would be bra friendly, and I also did waist shaping so that it would just give me a bit of a more similar ease throughout the entire top, rather than there being negative ease on my bust and positive ease around the rest of my torso. And I do really love that top. I would love to knit another one of it because I think it's very wearable. I love the wide strap silhouette, and I really love Rebecca, who is Knit Hip Hooray, her version in brown. I think that a brown Celine top in a duo, which is a cotton and merino blend from Sandnes Garn. For me, I'd probably still stick to the wide straps, even though I love the delicate look of the I-cord straps. It would just be wonderful. That is a top that I definitely plan to re-knit at some point, granted not anytime soon. I could also do it in a different spot. I was like,
that's fine. I have to.
oh, I find it so awkward to film, but it's worth it. It's worth it because I love doing this. Yeah, so the other top that I finished was the Merle Tee, which was another test knit for Knitting.dear, who is Louisa, and I love that top. I 100% honesty didn't love the process of knitting it, but I love the finished product. I love the fit of it. I've worn it a lot. I think it looks, just so good in high-waisted pants or shorts tucked in. I would not knit it again in the fiber choice that I picked, But yeah, it's a top that I really love. Their short row shaping in like the back, in the sleeves. It fits super well. I knit it the size down. If I were to reknit it, I'd probably also knit it the size down. I just love the way that top fits, and I'd want to recreate it, but not with that yarn. Although I was at my local yarn store, and the owner of it, Joan, she mentioned that she knit a skirt in the Hempathy yarn, and she's like, it just softens every time you wash it. So I assume it's like linen in that way, but that was another top that I knit on my to knit list. Now, my current whips that I wanted to knit but didn't knit are the Talia cardigan, which is like 60% done. I'm almost done the body and I have one sleeve left. I'm not sure when I'm getting to it. My hands are tired from working in 100% plant fiber yarns, and that is knit in Linne or Line by Sandnes Garn, and I do really love that yarn, and I don't find it's the worst plant fiber to work up, but I just want wool, and all things cozy and fluffy is what I'm craving, even though it is still ridiculously hot out and not at all fall yet. But the nights are getting cold, which is exciting. So that is one whip that I have. Another whip that I have is my camisole number 7. I wanted to knit that top for my first day of school. I don't know if that's getting done. I have a few test knits, and by a few I mean I only have 2 right now, which is like really good for me. I have this mohair jacket, and I also have the ruffle cardigan by Knittarina, and I don't really want to take on any more test knits aside from like maybe 1 or 2 this fall, kind of leaving options, but I definitely don't want to do. I think I did 8 test knits this summer, and that was a lot. And I think that's part of the reason why I didn't finish my knitting plans or I didn't finish any of my summer knitting plans that weren't test knits, because I was obviously prioritizing my test knits, and test knitting was a great experience. I absolutely loved it. I'm so grateful for every single opportunity that I had, but I do find that test knits, although they're wonderful, they don't allow you to work on projects that aren't test knits, especially when you sign up for like 6 at once, which is what I did. So I kind of want to do a bit more selfish knitting this fall, because I did selfish knitting this summer in terms of knitting things for myself, and I only completed 1 gift knit for another person. But this fall, I want to do like 100% selfish knitting. I don't want to knit with a deadline. I do love the test knitting experience, but I feel like I got so much of it this summer that I'm, in 100% honesty, feeling burnt out from it. And I have the 2 that I need to finish, and I've left myself enough time to finish them. But other than that, I may sign up for a couple if the yarn is sponsored, because that's like amazing and a great opportunity. And there's a few designers that I have, like, they're on like my bucket list to test knit for, one of which is Ulla Knitwear and the other one is Ozetta. Both of those designers I would be so grateful to test knit for, and so they're 2 that I will probably keep reapplying for, just because I kind of want to check that, like, get that Girl Guide badge, you know? The other top that I started and didn't finish was my camisole number 9. That top has barely made any progress. Again, it was just other test knits came and gave it priority. I would love to have that top in my wardrobe. I just don't feel a big draw to it. I don't know, I struggle with camisoles to get to the body, but once I'm in the body, I just love knitting in the round. I just don't love how fiddly top-down camisoles are, and so I've kind of been reluctant to work on them unless they're for a test knit. The other top that I started and didn't finish is another camisole, and that is my square neck camisole by Garn Slicked. And I should mention that both camisole number 9 and camisole number 7 are by My Favorite Things Knitwear, but if you are in the knitting community, you probably know that. The square neck camisole is probably the camisole that I will most likely pick up, because I chose to knit that in Knitting for Olive merino. They're 100% merino, and so to me it's like, those merino camisoles are great transitional pieces, they're great layering pieces in the winter, and so that's a top that I am the most likely to pick up and knit. And I'm like, I'm still stuck on the straps, and I feel so lame saying that, but I just don't love knitting the straps and dealing with all the fiddliness of top-down camisoles, and because I am just craving sweaters and cardigans, that is what I have been knitting on, and I think that's okay. I know I would like to finish them at some point, and if you're a returning viewer, you know that I have like so many projects on the go, and I'll pick things up and I'll randomly finish things that I haven't talked about, and I'm okay with that. That's just me. That's just the way I do it. And so, yeah. But I did finish a lot of other projects this summer, other than the ones that I had on my knitting plans. And I think these were projects that I finished because the majority of them were test knits. And I had a really fun time test knitting this summer. I met some really awesome people, got to talk to people from all over the world, which is so cool to me. Got to make lots of new knitting friends and just kind of build a greater connection within the knitting community. All of that I love. But it just meant that I didn't get to work on as many projects that I like wanted or had planned to do. And that was just like, it's a give and take thing. There's only so many hours in the day, in the week, so many days in the week. And I was really lucky this summer. I had a lot of knitting time due to the fact that I was finishing up a program. So I did finish a lot of garments. And just because they weren't the ones that I planned that's okay. And that's what happened. But I definitely, this fall, am planning to do a bit more selfish knitting and knit the patterns that I want to, because I bought a whole bunch of yarn, and I've still bought a lot of yarn, to knit projects that I have a specific idea for, and I find it hard to like give up that yarn for other projects when I know I bought it for a specific purpose. But because I've done so many test knits, I haven't really had that opportunity to use up the yarn that I've bought. So yeah, I finished 5 other full garments this summer that were other test knits. And so to me, that's a win. I added so much to my knitting wardrobe. I finished a cardigan for myself. I finished a cute accessory for myself that both of those weren't test knits. And it was a summer just full of knitting, full of creating. I guess I also finished my mom's terrazzo slipover. So I finished 3 projects that weren't test knits. And I do love test knitting, but I need to slow it down. I need to slow it down for the fall. And that's my plan. So I'm going to try to hold myself accountable to that, because I'm not the best at holding myself accountable and having self-restraint. That's why I have like a bajillion projects on the go, is because I get super excited and I'm like, I just want to cast it on, and so I cast it on. And that's kind of how it went with test knits, was like, I just want to apply for them all, and so I applied for them all. And in the past, I hadn't got chosen for all the ones that I applied for, but this summer it was like almost every test knit I applied for, I got chosen for, which was amazing. But it just meant that I had more commitments than I had initially thought I would have when I made that planning video. So we'll see what I start and finish from my fall planning video, which I just posted, because it's ambitious, and I know I'm not going to finish everything I started or that I plan to start, because I have 2 dresses. Like, that is a lot of knitting. I feel like this was a little all over the place, but that was my knit with me for this week. And it was just, I'm gonna really try to keep these to like the 10 to 15 minute range, because I think that's a nice little short amount of time for you guys to watch to start your week off and have some knitting content. There it is. She's growing, and I love this lime color. It's so fun. It's such a statement. I love knitting in bright colors. I just don't want all of my knits to be in bright colors, because sometimes I also like wearing bright bottoms and bright tops is a lot, even for me. So I should also mention that I'm wearing my Structure Loop sweater by Other Loops that I knit in Universal Yarns Deluxe Worsted, which is 100% wool. It was very affordable. I think I got it for $8 for 8 Canadian dollars for an 100 gram skein. It has been the sweater that I have worn the most recently, just because it's so cozy and I can kind of wear it as an alternative to a sweatshirt. I mean, you guys know, you put so much time, effort, money, sweat and tears. Hopefully not sweat and tears. Hopefully not tears. Sometimes knitting gets hot and there is sweat, especially when you knit with mohair in the summer. Yeah, that's all for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. And again, if it was a little rambly, such is life. But till next time, I hope to have a podcast episode out for you on Wednesday this week as well. So stay tuned for that, because I think I've got 4 finished objects. It's crazy. And I've got a lot of new cast-ons because cast-onitis, I've got her. I've been diagnosed. So, till next time, see ya.